Hello.
Do you know what? I actually realised on the last podcast that we did with MC Tunes, we didn't actually introduce ourselves. But
that's all right. I think
anyway.
people know. Yeah.
So yeah, it's Claire and Paul here. And anyone that watched our house on YouTube a long time ago will know our next guest very, very well because they appeared several times, one of which was a Christmas Day special.
We're talking to that one viewer in Didsbury in Manchester. Thank you.
Always bringing the love. It's Frank and Naim from Uncle Frank. Welcome, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Do you know what? It's been like 10 years since we caught up.
Yeah, even 11 years, actually. 11 years. Well,
it's already begun.
Yeah, no, 2009 when we first met you, and we played, played on the show. And then I think maybe a year or two later, we came back on the show. So, yeah, about 10 years.
And so throughout the last 10 years, then, you've been doing so much tours, albums, radio shows. So we've got quite a lot to catch up on today.
I don't know where you're going to start, to be honest, or where you're going to end. But, yeah, it's not ended, really. I don't know. It's still going really strong for us, anyway. I mean, you guys are having a second birth now, right?
Yeah.
You guys went on holiday for a bit. We ain't stopped. We
Yeah, we went on holiday. And calm down.
Yeah, just a little bit. The house is like a house now. It's not like a TV studio anymore, which is really weird, but kind of good at the same time.
It's not a mess anymore.
It's just mental. Me and Frank used to wonder whose idea was that to do that in the house. How did you convince the wife, or Claire? How did you? Or were you just both on the same vibe? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we were both on the same vibe, weren't we? We obviously, it's a conscious decision to do something like that because it was like a TV studio for about 5 years, with like chroma key hanging up and just that many people in and out of the place. I mean, the footfall here was probably like at McDonald's at sometimes.
Our neighbours loved us, didn't they?
Didn't it just turn into a den of debauchery? With just random people around your house doing whatever.
Yeah, when you were here.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stories knocking about, aren't they?
Is that dude down in the basement that had the silly guitar that had the lights on the fretboard?
What's him?
Yeah.
That's like one of my highlights when I look back on it is you just taking the piss out of him.
There's two great bits because we loved him. But there's the bit where Frank's just like, what is it? No, Nice says something like, oh yeah, could you do a bit of a da-da-da-da? And Frank's like, yeah, I'm sure you could get loads out of Tim that we've gone.
He was just waiting to play on any occasion, wasn't he? And
he was ready to go.
Frank wouldn't let him.
He was like, if I can stamp this with Tim Scott, I'm going to stamp it.
He's very keen, that lad. He was keen. That's nice, though. It's nice to meet musicians that have got enthusiasm rather than the ones that just want to go to the hotel and go sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he created that ambience, didn't he, for the guests and the interviews and things. So.
Yeah, I mean, it happened by accident, didn't he? He was in the. I think he came on to promote his album and stuff.
He looks like a bit of a fucking accident, though. From on it.
Thing is, every time
Tim, we're so sorry.
We love you, Tim.
Tim, I'm only joking. That's what happens when you turn up with a guitar that looks like a fucking Christmas tree. Like, you're mad to get the piss stuck out of you. You know what I mean?
Thing is, every time we turn up to a venue, we're about to do something, Frank turns to me and says, "Should we just go back to the hotel and go sleep?"
It's like a laughing joke. It's like it doesn't matter what gig it is. It could be like a massive gig, like when we went and played down at the Royal Albert Hall in London on this crazy night that was like we were playing with the Rolling Stones and Van Morrison and all these people. And as we were pulling up, I looked at Naim and went, "Yeah, should we just fuck this off and go back?"
Well, listen, because you're on that vibe of kind of that reminiscing tip. What we'll do is we'll play a little sound clip and we can see what you can kind of pick up and remember from that.
You ready? We're rolling. We're rolling. We're rolling. Macro.
Do we have to introduce?
Mad chest. Not yet, bro. Just follow me lead. Follow me lead. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. You dumbass. You're just giving me a name there, Claire. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm good, but fuck me, I ain't that good. Tim, you're done, you big slag. Gary, you were great. Right. I thought you were brilliant. Who's in the Porsche?
Me.
You. You're in the Porsche.
You trying to steal my car, you car rapist?
Our house catering, so I ask for hot food. And when you ask, you get. So, God bless you, Claire. Sizzle chest. No, I'm not popping now. Okay. All right. Oh, no, I'll be like, yeah, Manchester bands don't.
For the raspberry.
All right, let's not fucking nosh each other off. The rocks. Can't end it with a bit of a whammy. So I could say, nice. Santa Boy's misery, heading for the coast. Ooh, yeah. So, you know, go and eat and be merry. Go on. Oh, God. Go on. See what you have to put up with guitarists.
You're looking at me like that.
Well, there's been occasions, bro.
If you had some music behind that, you know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can get loads out of Tim after we've left.
Talk to me, or wait for me, cause I'll be saving all my love for you, and I will always be true. Lovely Craven. About Frankie.
I'll tell you what it's about. I'm still.
When I think about you, I touch myself.
We don't know half the
You're watching our house. Hey, you're watching.
Hey.
Yay! It's a bit of self-indulgence there, but I enjoyed that. Do you actually remember any of that?
No.
I thought you were pretty charming there, Frank. That was good. I was wondering what you were muttering away. It's every time we get interviewed, you've always got like a little chat going on, and I got to hear exactly what you said. You're basically flirting. Whoever. This time it was Claire. Poor Claire.
Yeah. Well, I was taught back in drama school you have to pick something. And I picked Claire. And you have to home in on it. You know, that's the trick of a great guest, you know. And then obviously just talk any old random shit.
What?
I mean, I remember from them particular days, both days of shooting that we did that was, I think everyone was just in stitches.
Yeah.
Like that's what I remember from them days, and it's good when some of the bands that we had in on the show were just really difficult. You know, like just had no personality, or it wasn't they didn't have personality. I think it was just the fact that they didn't necessarily understand once cameras were put in front of them. You know, that they had to be a bit animated and.
Some people are great. Like some people freeze up or all of a sudden become a bit self-aware. Or I've always like with the family that I've had. Anyway, it's like any of my family. You know, my mum, my granddad back in the day. There's certain people within my family that you stick a camera or a microphone in front of us, and we're just good. We just go. We're just good. It's not forced. It's a lot of the time it's funny and stuff. Even if you're in a bad mood, it's like that clown face where you put your hand down from your face and you just turn it on. And then when the cameras stop rolling, you're like, right, get the fuck out of there. I've had enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I suppose that's being professional. But you know, when you've grew up in a family where they're just a bunch of piss takers, you just... it just rolls off the tongue, you know. And if you've got brothers and sisters like Naim has, you've got to be able to come back with stuff. So I don't think we've ever struggled, even though sometimes, like we will now and again, me and Naim, we will get a little bit nervous now and again, depending on the show. I mean, the other year we were invited all the way down to someone's really special birthday, pure surprise. She had no idea that we were all of a sudden busted out this little back room, me and Naim, and they were massive fans of Uncle Frank. And just before we were in there, we were crapping it, weren't we, Naim? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think because it took us like 6 hours driving to get there, and it was all like these dark, gloomy streets of Looe in Cornwall, which we'd only ever been to in the sunshine, right? And suddenly we went there in the winter for this like party around Christmas, and it was really dark. It was like something out of a Sherlock Holmes film, you know. We went in there and suddenly you burst in, and there's all these people, and the stage is actually ready. Everything's there, and then Frank just wants to eat. So they got this banquet set up for it, and he's stuffing his face, and we're meant to be on stage in like a minute.
But it still sounded tip top, didn't it? Remember, there was a guy there that did the sound, and he was walking all around with his iPad like they do nowadays, mixing the sound, and it sounded. She was blown away. She was in tears, weren't she, when we started singing?
Well, they didn't want us to stop, really. It was one of them where I didn't want to stop either. We just
it was good. Once we got going, but it was that we kind of opened the door a little bit and looked out, and it was rammed, and it was like no one knew we were there. Like at a gig, people know they've paid to see you, so you kind of you're already geared up because they know who they're about to see. This was like, well, what if half the room don't even want us there? There were them kind of nerves. But normally you stick a microphone or a camera in front of myself and Knight, we'll just turn it on because
I love it when you do that, Frank. See, I've been done all these gigs with Frank, right? And I thought that he knew the hosts because he's that familiar. And then it's only later on I realised Frank didn't know anyone in the room. But as soon as he walks in, he's just like, "Hello, you fruity bastard. How are you?" You know, and I'm like, you don't talk to someone like that.
I can actually picture that as well.
Well, we did this radio thing in Northampton, BBC Radio Northampton, and this guy, I can't remember, I think his name might have been Dale. He looked like a Dale. Okay.
What, was it dog?
Yeah, and he has this little poodle. He's like got his radio show while he's stroking this little poodle in his lap. And he's got like Christopher Biggins glasses on. You know, he's proper...
like a Dale.
Yeah. By the end of it, he was inviting us round his house for a sauna or something.
Yeah, it was a bit scary towards the end. He really took a shine to Naim. I was like, but no,
we've got some audio clips already. Really, we're only 13 minutes in.
I mean, in jest now, of course, do remember the R House. It was a really good blast. But what I remember about it the most was the room was full when we did the special, you know, and there was a lot of people in there. I think you might have featured one or two local Manchester artists that were in there and stuff. And it was all like hustly bustly and jovial, and you know. But then when me and Naim started singing one or two of the songs, it was like you could hear a pin drop, and everybody was like, "Oh, you know, these guys laugh and joke, but when they play, it's badass." That bit I remember, because you know what I mean. I remember finishing, and you could hear people going, "Fuck, you know, these are well good." Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that bit I remember. You know what I mean?
So, there's been 2 occasions, I think, where I've seen a band come in and you could literally hear a pin drop. And one of them is yours because you were really captivating, really professional, and you sounded amazing. And the other one, it was a band, rappers. I don't know. Literally, no one knew what to expect from them. They were called Damaged Gods. And they came in and they set up it was like a painted decorator table, didn't they, with some like DJ.
They weren't even decks, were they? They were just they were fake decks. But...
and then we counted them in, and then they just went Western Girls, and they did like a version of Western Girls, but it was It was a rap version, and they were bouncing everywhere, and everyone in the room just stopped because it was like, what is going on?
I think that the moment for me was at the very end of that. People just didn't know whether to laugh or clap, and it was really awkward because I'd never heard him before, and I worked with one of these guys, and it was just I wasn't expecting West End girls.
No.
Like
it was certainly different.
Yeah, that must be difficult for you guys when you have something on the show and they perform and you're just like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's like, and then you have to kind of be there going, well, that was great, guys. Yeah, the fucking singing lessons. Oh man.
So let's talk about you. So the most recent thing I've been seeing you do is New Music Fridays in a Tikki Hut. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, that was just like kind of had some nice weather, and we were, when you work in a studios are normally, pretty dark and just 4 square walls with soundproofing up, and Naim said to one day, "Oh, I want to jam this song, try and do an acoustic version of one of our songs from the last album." Which is one called Lay It All At Its Feet. And Naim was like, well, let's come round yours and go in a Tikki Hut and do it. So at the bottom of my garden, we've got a Tikki Hut. So,
cool.
And it's quite good because it's all wood. And as long as there's no, dogs barking or people building down the street or anything like that, and it's quite quiet, can actually get a really good it's like a little jam hut. So we just kind of went in there, and it went that well that Naim was like, we should put a little acoustic EP out, which is the last thing that we brought out just a few months ago. It's probably the only positive thing that's come out of 2020 up to now for me and Naim is putting that.
Dude, we were doing this well before people did like lockdown streaming things, right?
Oh yeah.
So once again, trailblazing.
Yeah.
We were annoyed, like all these people on ITV and so doing things from the houses, and we're like, oh, where's that idea kicked in from? Like, someone give me some money for fuck's sake.
You know what I mean?
Great, man. Maybe we should have done the one every week or something. I don't know, but with the ones we put out, look, they've done really well for us. Like, people love them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought it was in a bar. I thought the setup was really nice. I watched a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, that was pretty sweet.
That's how it always is. I'm looking down the yard now to where it is. It's always like that. It wasn't a setup. Nothing was put in place. That's just how it is. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a nice chilled out area, But awesome. We thought, what the hell? Let's do a whole EP from it. So that's something that we've not long put out. Like I say, it's the only positive thing that the best thing of 2020 really is that EP that we put together. Because apart from that, it's been shit. I mean, it was only this morning. I had some meetings this morning to book our first few shows for Uncle Frank next year. So me and Naim are going down to settle on some dates and a deal and stuff with a really good Leicester venue for some show. One acoustic gig we're going to do before Christmas, and then we're going to do a full live band around April time as well. So, yeah, onwards and upwards with this bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was something that MC Tunes was touching on when it's a bit of it obviously is a struggle, isn't it? It's just, I suppose everything's just grown to a halt. How would you say you've coped with that, not necessarily being to output, as you would normally? Because you guys would be on the road pretty much most of the time, especially weekends, wouldn't you? Has that been difficult to just kind of come to terms with, or?
It has a bit in it now, but we have been we're currently writing another album, so that's keeping us focused a bit. But as far as gigs now, we've not been able to do anything, have we, really?
No, I mean, I got married recently, so I've moved house, and there's all that business. So that's kept me busy. And then, but I've quite enjoyed having a year off gigging. But I'm ready to do it again now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, but I agree as well. But even though taking a year off gigging is good, but not being able to go and see a gig or maybe jump up and jam, or now and again, me and I will get asked to do something, and we're not in a touring circle, but we've not even got that really. Do you know what I mean? So it is a bit weird, but yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's a little bit strange. Probably a tad stranger for me to a degree with, the FLC touring, because it's the first time in, 18 years that we've not played any shows. That's a bit weird. I was saying to Naim, it was starting to get to me a little bit last week. Because we're always on tour on my birthday. It's always great. It's a family affair. Me, Naim, my brother, Uncle Frank, some friends. We travel down to Cornwall and play every year, and we always get looked after. It's always a smashing time. It's great,
Yeah.
And weren't allowed to do that. And then it was like, I just think that I've done quite well, but last week it just pissing me off, because it's that there's not really anything ever to look forward to. There's always something cracking off at the weekend, but for the last 7 months, there's nothing really to look forward to. And so when it's quite hard sometimes for us to get, you got to be motivated, and you got to be in a good place to go sit in a dark room and make up really cool, imaginative shit come out your head, and then get it down on tape or get it down in the studio. You got to be in a good place to do that. So me and Naim, I think we've learned that. Before, we'd push ourselves back in the early days, where we'd make ourselves ill. Where now we'll talk to each other. How you feeling? Do you want to do something tomorrow? Yeah. And then we wait till we're both, look, let's go in the studio. I really want it. All right, let's go now then. And then we get quite a lot done in a short amount of time. So that's about right, isn't it, Niall? That's what we've been doing the last few months.
Yeah. Saving up. Don't go in there because you just you feel like you have to. Go in there when you got something to say, and live a life. You got to live a life, man, to be able to make good art.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? So you can't force these things. But I think the music industry became too weighted on live stuff. Because of the streaming business and pirating, everything was all about gigging. And now it's taken a black swan event like COVID to completely just turn the boat over, right? And it's like, shit. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of careers affected. But on the other hand, it's like now maybe it'll be easier to get people to come to gigs, right?
Yeah. Well, what do you think the future of gigs are? Because I worry, because, I love going to gigs for the sense of being in a crowd of people, all there enjoying themselves, throwing beer on each other, and, just being part of that crowd. And with social distancing, obviously, that's not a possibility at the minute. Where do you see the future of gigs happening? Do you think we could ever go back to that style?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course it will. At the minute, it's like a chess game at the minute, but that won't last for too long. You know what I mean?
It might become like underground fighting or underground dogfights. Actually,
just underground raves.
Yeah, just watching a band could become this like illegal thing.
Yeah, there's too much money to be made. There's too much money to be made. There's too much, talking about billions of pounds around the world, like industry, that it will have to come back because everyone will be missing it. But when it does come back, there's already gigs that have been, that are going to go ahead next year. Some of them might get cancelled if they're a little bit too early, like March, April, May. They might stand a chance of them being bumped along again, but it will come back. And when it does come back, I think everybody will be that looking forward to it that the first bunch of shows, people are just going to go mad at them. So I think it could come back, and it'll probably come back stronger because everyone knows now how it feels not to have it for a year.
Yeah.
When it comes back, they're going to really enjoy it, and hopefully especially the people that line up at the front of stages at festivals, that always seem completely fucking miserable. And like, why stand at the front?
Been there for 6 hours before anyone stepped on stage.
They can't go to the toilet.
That's what they do. They bomb it down to the front, and they're all excited. And then by the time a band comes on, or the third or fourth band comes on a festival, they're completely miserable, hanging over the banister, often falling asleep. And it's just like, yeah, we got to look at you, ugly bastards.
They look really ill, don't they? Look really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Next time we do that, we should pull them out on stage and totally. You know what I mean?
That's a great idea.
Look at this numpty. What are you doing to the front?
That's a great idea. And what we should do is we should get like LED screens behind and have Nico, our tech, just take
With
photos.
a camera, just filming them.
No, just take photos, and then randomly they come up behind us, and we go, "That's what we're looking at, guys, at the front row." So, if that's good, get yourself out of the fucking venue or go and stand at the back.
Do you know that Facebook site called Awkward Band Photos?
Yeah, they're great.
They should do one for awkward people standing at the front of a venue.
Yeah,
That's
I
amazing.
might start doing that.
What's awkward Dan photos?
Awkward Band Photos. It's just called that.
Bands. Yeah.
Awkward Band Photos on Facebook. Brilliant, man.
Okay, I'm going to look it up.
That-
Hopefully gigging will come back and we'll all appreciate it a little bit more and we'll all smile when we're at the front. What do you think about the message to get, for artists to go and get a proper job while this is all happening?
I thought that was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that. If I see that dude in the street, I'll light him up. Like, honestly, I'll just stick one straight on him and go and retrain that bastard. See how you feel. Because how can he say that? Like, apparently he's saying now that he didn't say that, but like it was taken out of context, whatever. But it's so funny. You have to realise that they're the kind of, that they're the people that don't really care for none of them fools. You know what I mean? Are going to be queuing outside of a HMV, queuing up for a ticket, or in the mud, throwing mud around, getting pissed thrown over them, or in a rock and roll gig down in a mosh pit, or just they ain't them kind of people. They're the kind of people at school that were just, you know what I mean? That the little public school boys like they ain't like that. So they probably look at our industry like it don't really matter. Like,
they have no creativity, do they? So.
But they
don't understand it.
No, they don't understand it. They look at musicians as if it's like a jovial thing or it's not a real job and stuff like that. And so that's probably why he said what he said. But it's the most disgusting thing. That's like saying, well, I don't even want to do a comparison, but it's bizarre that he said that. It's like.
Have you seen that advert with the ballet dancer as well that kind of went viral? So have you seen it, Paul?
No.
So it's like a ballet dancer lacing up her shoes and it says that her career could be in cyber. She just doesn't know it yet. She needs to retrain.
Oh, piss off.
The thing is, what they don't realise, right, musicians are actually very resourceful people. And just to be in the business with any kind of success, you need to be like good at loads of things and really, proactive at loads of things and creative. But if you stuck us on a desert island and someone like Rishi Sunak, he'd be the first to just, drown because he'd be useless.
Yeah.
All he does is push papers around. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, artists will be all right because we are resourceful. They were doing music before record labels. And there's
plenty more output, isn't there now, in terms of like platform output and that type of thing. So there's loads of different ways to sort of pull revenue in, isn't there?
It's just super rich for somebody like him to go and say that, because he, like what does he know? He'll never have to retrain for anything. He married into super rich, so he's set for life. That dude. So it's real rich when somebody who's set for life has the audacity to try and tell somebody, oh, what you're doing's a bit whack, mate. You want to retrain for something else. I'll tell you what, pal, I'll retrain for something else when you retrain for something else. Well, no, I don't need to retrain because I'm loaded. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you go fuck yourself then? Try that.
It's a good campaign, that.
So yeah, I ain't got time. I ain't got time for that nonsense. It's just such nonsense. And then every news narrative gets hold of it, and it's like it's just bizarre.
Thing is, Frank, he's not said anything that musicians didn't know already. Musicians have always had to do other things.
Yeah.
Always. Back in the...
Yeah, but that's their prerogative and their right to do them things when they want. You don't have...
Yeah.
I suppose it's about being told, like, sort of so publicly, isn't it?
You're being told that you're not useful.
Yeah.
Who's he to tell somebody what to do? Who's he? He ain't my dad.
Well, he's not. He's just saying he's not going to give us any money. That's all he's saying.
Well, yeah. I don't want his money.
No.
So I know you mentioned maybe early next year, March, April, May might be a time for gigs to pick up. Have you got anything planned at all for that?
Yeah. You tell them, Naim. We've got the Leicester show, right, Demont?
Yeah, we're playing Frank's good buddies with Paul Heaton from A Beautiful South. Yeah. He's had quite a stellar solo career with many number one hit albums, and obviously Beautiful South. At one point, him and his songwriting partner were the biggest musical partnership or best selling since McCartney and Lennon. Anyway, he's asked us to support him. He's asked us to support him at Leicester's De Montfort. So that ain't bad, is it?
That's amazing. They played around the corner from us last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
At Stockport
County, yeah.
So that's next year.
Yeah, that's in April. I believe it's April. But before Christmas, we're about to lock in an acoustic show, one of my Naim's acoustic nights. We're going to lock one of them shows in just before Christmas, so it can be, a bit more seated, and we're actually going down for a meeting on Friday to the venue so they can show us how they want us to do it. And then if we're happy with it, we'll lock a date in there. So we'll put that date up on the socials. And then we've got the De Montfort Hall show in April. And then straight after that, we're going to be playing in Leicester at the Firebug venue, which is a great venue, run by a friend of ours, Matt Kirk. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. But our main goal at the moment, Claire, is to get the album finished. Very exciting that we've got one of our favourite bands at the minute. The guy who mixes their album is going to be mixing our new record. So we're just in the process of finishing it up now and getting that ready for next year.
Nice.
Yeah. Who's your favourite band?
Well, they're not. They're just a band that we're really into. I can't say it's my. I'm not going to put favourite on it. Just one of our favourites over the last, what is it now, like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, they're amazing, man. They're amazing. I mean, you get. I'm sure you can't pick a favourite band, can you? But these guys are one of our favourite bands. Rival Sons. Wicked band, and it's like one of our dreams really is to play with them. So by using their engineer, I think there's a big step forward there. Plus, Frank's interviewed a bunch of times, and they love him to bits. Cool. So it's only a matter of time before we share a stage with them. That's our dream, anyway.
One of the things I was going to ask: how do you guys consume, say, new music these days? Because obviously, with all the platforms and streaming and stuff. Do you guys have any kind of sort of favourite, or I suppose favourite, we didn't want to use that word, did we? But like new artists or new acts that people haven't heard of that you're particularly into because you found them on a platform?
Yeah. I mean, what's that guy, Frank, that Levin plays for? Marcus King.
Amazing. Marcus King.
Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah. We really like Marcus King. We like JD Simo. I like a bunch of people. Naim's always listened to a lot of different stuff. I've always listened to a lot of different stuff. I get sent quite a bit of stuff now for the radio show, which is nice. Some of it's great, some of it's not. If it's not great, I don't play it. So if it's great, I play it.
If it's from Manchester, does it not get a popper?
I love the Manchester bands, and
Can Tim Spot get a slot?
I'd probably send him to like the breakfast people, but he wouldn't make the cut for Sunday nights, I don't think.
So that's your show on BBC Radio Leicester?
Yeah, Sunday nights, 6 till 10.
And kind of what's the vibe of that?
It's all funk and groove and classic science. Just basically, I just play one type of music, and that's great music. That's pretty much the mantra. A lot of it's groove based, so it's your James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Prince. A little bit of hip hop, some Latin stuff. It's a real like mixture, and then every now and again I might drop some rock music, and so it's music for the connoisseur, I think.
And you get a chance to kind of showcase new people as well, so that's
now and again if they're good, because obviously they've got to sit in between all them kind of people that I've just said. So if it's not good, I won't play it. Trust me, radio's full of stuff that people have to play whatever they're told to play, but with the Uncle Frank show on BBC Radio Leicester, it goes for a serious quality control before it hits the airways. So, but I must admit, I'd say 90% of the show, Naim, is probably old school vintage stuff, isn't it, from the 60s and 70s?
I mean, Rid, what you just said, no one gets to play their own music on BBC, but you do. How did you actually swing that?
Well, me and Hurdle White, which is the guy who does the reggae show on BBC, which Naim does a great impersonation of it.
Oh, we're having that. Come on.
This is Hurdle White, lighting up your road on a Sunday night. Straight after the Uncle Frank. I'm going to play you some really shite soca music that I found in a bargain bin in the Leicester Market. Big up yourself at Caribbean Girls.
Oh, fantastic. But yeah, his show and my show, we get to pick our own music. So it's two bespoke music shows where, unfortunately, a lot of the other DJs throughout BBC are not lucky enough to get a bespoke music show. So they have to play what's kind of stacked up for them to play. So very lucky like that. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And, while we're in between making the records and performing, Naim is, well regarded, like music professor that teaches at a school that's just for people studying music. So he has that. I have this little thing, my radio show, and that just keeps us ticking over for when we go in the studio and create all the magic that we try and create and then get out on the road. So it's pretty good balance. Do you know what I mean?
Voice. And
you're just laughing at Naim's impression. That's
laugh so hard at her voice. Are there any fun-loving criminals plans coming up in the future as well?
There'll always be shows coming up. I think we've got a tour scheduled for the end of 21. I think it's around November, and then one or two festival dates if they're all up and running. So yeah, there'll be a chance to see us play at some point next year. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And one thing that I actually didn't realise, Naim, is that you've been obviously you've been in the industry for many, many years. You've been around a lot of different bands, and you've been on Fun Loving Criminals albums, kind of vocally and things like that as well.
Yeah, Frank. Well, that's thanks to Frank, really. I think a couple of times he'll just literally ring me about 10 minutes before and go like, yeah, I'm outside the studio now. Needed to record some bits. Yeah, and then
get your ass down here.
Yeah. And it will be like, yeah, oh no, just come over for a bit. We're in London, actually. I was touring with Beverly Knight. And Frank came to a show. He says, oh, come back to this Fun Loving Criminals apartment studio that we've rented out. I went, all right, cool, I'll check it out. So we went round. and he flicked all the all the consoles on and the mics and everything. He says, "Oh, no, just sing on this." Yeah, so I did, and then 2 years later, it's on their album.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes down. You don't get any time to like really prepare. But yeah, dead proud of that.
And then it takes 2 years to appear.
But that's just the way music flows, isn't it? It takes 2 years recording, sorting out, mixing, mastering, album artwork. When you're gonna, it's ages away. So, dead proud of that. But yeah, that's thanks to Frank really that I did that, and
it was cool when we did that. That was good.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And also, Huey and Fast liked it too. So that's obviously a bonus.
Yeah.
They got us up on stage, got me up on stage a couple of times, and sung it live with them. So that was a buzz, man. That was great.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so anyone listening out there, where can they find your stuff? Where can we buy your merch, buy your songs? Where can we see you?
You can buy everything from our shop, which is on our website, which is www.unclefrankband.com. And then what's the other ones? The socials, Naim. You know them, don't you?
Uncle Frank. It's either Uncle Frank Band, really. Uncle Frank Band or Uncle Frank Music. If you just type Uncle Frank Music or even just Uncle Frank into Google, will be pretty much the top hits that you see there.
Yeah. You can type Uncle Frank Our House and it'll pop up. It's all good. Watch the Christmas show. Watch the Christmas show outtakes.
That was crazy. Did you get me in some kind of eating competition in that? I'm sure
did the mince pie. Did you do the mince pies? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Well, yeah, that was an annual thing, so I can't remember who participated.
Was it Dan or something? No, it wasn't. No, Dan was presenting, wasn't he?
Right, I'm going to find it and I'm going to post it.
I've watched it recently.
I thought your show was brilliant, man. What at the time I thought this could be like the next. What's his face? The ginger guy on Channel 4. What's his name?
TFI.
Yeah, I thought this could be. Yeah, well, the word, why didn't it? What happened?
I think we did do a podcast about this a couple of months ago, and the sound was terrible, so we took it down. And it was the first time we'd uncorked it for about 10 years. Yeah. And other than going through like kind of the ringer with a lot of different sound engineers and people fighting and squabbling, because everyone was working for free.
Yeah.
I think the main issue was that YouTube wasn't. It was so far in its infancy.
No influences then. There was
there was no way to monetize at that time. So
and everything was like.
If it had been about 3 years later, I think it would have been a different story.
If we'd have done it now in this generation of influencers, we'd be smashing it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you couldn't even upload stuff in HD then.
No, and they were. It sounds so old, don't we? Back in the day, but you could only upload 10-minute clips onto YouTube.
So we had to have a website to host the shows, and then I've been digging the shows out and kind of slowly uploading them. So we've got all kinds of stuff up there from like the shows Rowetta presented and yourselves and so on and so forth. And
we were talking about Rowetta last week, weren't we? It's like. I ended up working with Happy Mondays for 6-7 years, but without Rowetta, and then Frank ended up working with Rowetta. And it's a really good mate with her now.
Yeah, she's a great girl. She's awesome.
She is, and we were saying she was on our first episode as a presenter as well. So she was like kind of, the only kind of celebrity that we approached that just went,
she was just game for it.
Yeah, she just came on. She presented the show. She performed on the show. She promoted it. No one ever promoted
Bottle
it.
of vodka in a bag between takes. She was fantastic.
She's such a proactive person. She's
she's just full of life and she just loves life.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of captivating thing about her.
Yeah, I got a lot of time for Rose. She's a good girl.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I think we've covered everything.
Well, it's great to see you guys back and doing our house through the podcast, and I wish you all the best with the baby and everything.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll have to try not to leave it 10 years in between kind of links. And
Well, that was your doing, you slow ass, not ours. On that note, I've got to leave you. I love you and leave you.
So I think what we should probably do is obviously we can link back in like every sort of 6 episodes and see where.
Say 5-6 years.
Yeah, 5-6 years. We don't want to see you for at least another 3. But yeah, with the podcast, obviously we have a platform now that in terms of we can bring people in as often as we like, so we can talk about weird and wacky stuff. Always welcome to be a regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
all we do is laugh, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's an episode of laughter.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And we'll post all your links and everything so that people can check everything out. And hopefully we'll see you at a gig early next year.
Yeah, maybe pull some strings up there in Stockport, man. Let's get our house live in a venue or something, and we'll come up and do a turn up there.
Let's do it. That's a great idea.
Coming back.
Because our tour manager lives in Stockport pretty much. So, do you know what I mean? He's been driving around the country for us all these years. It'd be nice for him to just step outside his house, and maybe he could fucking put us up in his house for once. It's been worth putting him up in our house. You know what I mean?
Let's be honest, he's a bit of a fucking numpty.
Well, that's just fucking murdered that, hasn't it?
It'll be like the easiest gig of his life, that, won't it?
Okay, tell you what, let's do that. Let's get something going. You'll come and headline it. We'll get some other bands. We'll get Tim Scott in.
We'll get Tim Scott in. We'll get the drone on the case.
Yeah.
And we'll get Rowetta in. We'll film a bit of a music video.
Yeah, let's do it. Right. Yeah. Okay. Definitely.
That's good.
So thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Thank you. Bye. Housemates, and everything we discussed in today's podcast will link all in the description, so have a look, like, share and support. Thanks for listening.